All right, welcome to this episode of Trojan Poetry. We are on episode number 18, and it is the Valentine's Day edition.
Hey, forget about it. It's Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day tomorrow. Now, this is going to be kind of a longer episode because as I was trying to pick poems, I thought, you know what, if there's anything that poetry has a corner on, right, corners the market on, it's love.
Right.
Right. It should. If any episode of this whole series is going to be extra special or extra long, it's going to be the Valentine's Day episode.
We might even have a happy poem finally that we
picked.
After 18 episodes, I think we almost got one.
Yeah. All right. So I totally, when I was trying to think of a poem for this episode, I knew immediately what I wanted to do. And then I kind of second-guessed myself. And I'm like, oh, that one's so obvious. And maybe I should try to something a little bit darker. or something more deeper.
Yeah, right.
And I actually came up with 3 poems. And
Yes.
I think that they cohere in an interesting way. And I'm going to try to narrate through my thought process.
Okay, to connect all 3.
And I'm curious if you're going to notice how I've connected them.
That's a lot of pressure.
Not
I feel like I'm writing a paper or something.
Well,
all right. Okay.
All right. So the first instantly I thought of E.E. Cummings. And I know earlier in one of our earlier episodes, I always thought of E.E. Cummings as having happy poems. Mm-hmm. And this is why. Mm-hmm. Right. He has a series of love poems. This is one of the most famous ones. So if you only want a happy romantic poem, listen to this one and then be done.
Okay, this is it. All right.
All right, so this is called I Carry Your Heart With Me, I Carry It In, written in 1952 by E.E. Cummings. I carry your heart with me, I carry it in my heart. I am never without it. Anywhere I go, you go, my dear, and whatever is done by only me is your doing, my darling. I fear no fate, for you are my fate, my sweet. I want no world, for beautiful you are my world, my true. And it's you are whatever a moon has always meant, and whatever a sun will always sing is you. Here is the deepest secret nobody knows. Here is the root of the root, and the bud of the bud, and the sky of a tree called life, which grows higher than soul can hope or mind can hide. And this is the wonder that's keeping the stars apart. I carry your heart, I carry it in my heart. All right. A good E.E. Cummings poem.
That's a classic.
The rhythm is beautiful. The sentiment is beautiful. It's intriguing when you look at it on the page. The use of parentheses. I actually had students, they had to do a reading of a poem, and they had to read it in like a pair. Mm-hmm. And the way they chose to read it was that one person read the parentheses and one person read the text without the parentheses. Mm-hmm. And when they did that, it actually snapped together for me. I was like, oh, I understand now what the parentheses are doing, which was interesting. I don't want to say much except for that I just think it's such a happy, bright poem. And again, just the rhythm, the way there are numerous rhythms within the poem. And I don't know, just...
So is that...
Happy Valentine's Day.
It's a great poem, and E.E. Cummings is always really interesting when you first look at it on the page, like you said. Mm-hmm. And so do you think that the parentheses and outside the parentheses are the two people talking back and forth? Or is this someone's thoughts? The parentheses are like the subliminal, what's going on inside, kind of?
That's how that it's kind of not the subconscious, but the additional thought, or like an add-on. I don't know how to describe it other than that.
I love that second to last stanza, the sky of a tree called life. It's just really cool, like almost Norse mythology,
right?
Kind of an image.
And I'm not sure I could explain it all, but of course that's not the point, right? Yeah. Like,
it's just the feeling. It's the tone.
Right. Okay, so that's the happy poem. And I went and searched. I was like, okay, that's so happy. Maybe there's more to love than just that. And so I started thinking...
We're getting Freudian here. All
right. So I started thinking, and I thought of Wordsworth, William Wordsworth, and I came up with, and eventually, again, this is going to make sense, I think. She dwelt among the untrodden ways, from 1800. So here's that poem. She dwelt among the untrodden ways beside the springs of Dove, a maid whom there were none to praise and very few to love. A violet by a mossy stone half hidden from the eye, fair as a star when only one is shining in the sky. She lived unknown, and few could know when Lucy ceased to be. But she is in her grave, and oh, the difference to me.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Okay, well, it does use the word love.
It does use the word grave.
Clearly Wordsworth, or the speaker, was in love, or in some way loved the character Lucy. And I just thought of the tender nature of the poem, right? That there's this Lucy, nobody knows about her, nobody praises her. She's off in the middle of nowhere, and yet for the speaker, this is a really great love, right? And something so unnoticed still inspires the feeling of love and really does impact and affect the narrator. So again, the power of love more, and just how important love is.
Yeah, no one else noticed her. She's a violet by a mossy stone, so it's kind of like he noticed her beauty when no one else did. Right. And yeah, the last part, she's in her grave, and oh, the difference to me. You hear that kind of sadness and coming out at the end.
Right. So then I was like, okay, that's kind of a downer, but still on our theme. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to go try to find something more modern, more contemporary. Okay, so I found The Guardian has a list of the 50 greatest modern love poems.
Oh, there you go. Well, that's a good place to go. Yeah.
Right, so we're going to get that. And they had them from all different countries. There were 30 different countries represented. And I really kind of fell on this one. So this is from 1990, and it is by Vikram Seth from India. And this is the poem. It's called All You Who Sleep Tonight. All you who sleep tonight, far from the ones you love, no hand to left or right, and emptiness above. Know that you aren't alone. The whole world shares your tears. Some for 2 nights or 1, and some for all their years.
So it's like a love poem for the world. It's universal.
Right. And I thought, so I was like, okay, wow, that's beautiful. But then I made the connection. This is how I connected.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
This is the big moment.
What struck me was the way all 3 poems connect human earthly love in some way with the stars or the space above us. So in the one I just read from 1990, he says, all you who sleep tonight, far from the ones you love, no hand to left or right, and emptiness above. Right, so love has become, or becomes, the thing that we turn to when we sense that there's emptiness above us. Right, that the power of love is that it helps to deal with the emptiness above. So then, when I went back to Wordsworth, I saw he describes her as fair as a star when only one is shining in the sky. So again, Lucy, this unknown character, right, this kind of ignored person, is as beautiful as a star when there's only one star.
And she is the one star, right?
Right.
At least in his mind.
Right.
She's the one star he notices out of everything else.
Right, so he takes that little, the quote-unquote little person and imagines her as the star, right, which is this tremendous thing in space. And then Cummings, in the middle of his poem, says, it's you are whatever a moon has always meant, and whatever a sun will always sing is you. And then he even goes further, and this is the wonder that's keeping the stars apart.
Right, I like that line a lot. I was thinking about that when you first read it. Why are the stars apart and not together? Sorry, I interrupted, but...
No, but like all 3 poets look to love or look to the heavens and try to combine our little lives with the biggest thing imaginable, right? Or somehow there's that connection of space and earth and love, and that's totally corny. But
hey,
again,
it's Valentine's Day.
This
Come
is
on,
the Valentine's Day episode, and I thought, you know what, that is like, the poets have different, obviously the 190 years of history, and yet all 3 have that inclination to take love outside of just earth and try to show how big it is or how big it can feel right? I don't know.
Well, it's like when you're in love or you feel something like that for someone, you're part of something bigger. That's, it's there. It's like you're tapping into something that's out there. It's available if you want it, almost. And all three authors are kind of getting at that.
Right. So I thought that was
I wouldn't
cool.
say that's corny, John. Come on.
Well, I don't know.
It's called being an idealist. All right, what's your question?
All right. I don't really have a question, but I do have another book, which actually adds a fourth poem. So this week I was going to mention the book Emily Dickinson Envelope Poems. And so what it is it's a they have replicas of the actual envelopes that Emily Dickinson either wrote poems on or fragments of poems, and you get both sides of the envelope. So like here's the front side, here's the back side, and then they tell you here what it says. And so I was kind of scanning through it, and I found this little one. It's on this tiny little corner, right, the flap of an envelope, and it reads, "In this short life that only lasts an hour, how much, how little is within our power." And so again, this idea that Emily Dickinson, who, right, kind of lived a very quiet life and wasn't really well known, has written a poem about how our little lives contain quite a bit of power. And that tied me back to the love poems where, right, the power of love is the power to overcome emptiness and the sense of smallness. So
Yeah,
check it out. This is a cool little book. It's a shorter version of a book called The Gorgeous Nothings, which actually has real size pictures. These are a little bit smaller than what they really were, but
that's amazing that they've kept all those little scraps,
yeah,
literally, of her work.
Yeah, and it's fascinating just to think like that. She wrote.
She sat there, and why she
these
chose
little
to write it that
scraps.
way. Yeah,
Right, kind of like Lucy is a scrap.
Whoa! I saw
Right?
what you
Like,
did there.
see, I'm
Yeah,
trying to connect
it's
it all to make
there.
sense of
It's
it.
all there.
All right, well, I hope you enjoyed our extra long Valentine's Day edition.
I'm feeling the love. I know that. I don't know if you are, but well, thanks for watching. Please join the conversation in the comments on YouTube or on Twitter at Trojan Poetry DGN. Also, check out our website at trojanpoetrydgn.blogspot.com.